So, I don't know about you guys, but ever since I was a kid, one of my favorite things to watch when football isn't on or after the end of a good week of football is the NFL Mic'd Up series. I love seeing players trash talk each other in a competitive environment at the highest level. To be honest, I love it so much, I do it myself. Now, obviously, I'm not in the NFL, but when I'm casually playing some sports or when I'm gaming, I love to mix in some friendly trash talk or some friendly banter. So, with all that said, in this video, I'm going to list the biggest trash talkers or the best trash talkers on each team in the NFL. Now, as always, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I post NFL videos daily and it helps the channel out a lot, so go ahead and subscribe. So for this list of trash talkers, we're going to keep things easy. We're going to go in alphabetical order and we're going to do each NFL team. So that means we're going to start off at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, right now, the Cardinals have one of the most likable guys in the NFL in Larry Fitzgerald, and one of the most infamous trash talkers in the NFL, Terrell Suggs. If you've ever watched Terrell Suggs on Mic'd Up, he's crazy. He's always talking trash. If you've ever watched the Hard Knocks season where he happened to be on it, the guy is crazy. He's always talking trash. He's what you might consider an alpha personality type of guy. Like he's just always trying to get under somebody's skin and assert his dominance. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this one might surprise you, or it might not, depending on how much you watch Atlanta Falcons football, but I'm gonna go with Julio Jones. So we all know Julio Jones has been the franchise player there for a minute, and one thing about him being that franchise guy and just being a top receiver in the league, tons of people are going to come at his neck, which of course in return, it forces him to trash talk and engage in the banter. So I watch a lot of Falcons games, and Julio Jones is one of those guys I always see if it's a big DB matchup. Him and the DB, they're always going back and forth. They're always smack talking. They're always trash talking. They're always in each other's face bash. Just smack talk. I don't know. It's a fun watch. It's a good watch. I'm gonna go Julio. Next up, you have the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens are red hot right now. They're making a playoff run. Everybody's loving it. Lamar Jackson's looking like an MVP. Mark Ingram's found a new life in his career there. Now, since they no longer have Terrell Suggs, the biggest trash talker for the Ravens, I'm gonna go with Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram always does these post-game interviews. He's always gassing up his teammates. He's always kind of gloating or boasting after the game. And I feel like that's kind of a form or version of trash talking. Like, the Ravens played the Patriots and Mark Ingram is ready to crown Lamar Jackson as the MVP. Now, that could just be him gassing up his teammate, but I think it's like almost a slap in the face. Like, hey, Brady, I see what you're doing, but you know what? We got the real MVP right here. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills, Jerry Hughes. This is another guy that, I don't know, he's always in the backfield. He's always trash talking. And this guy, for whatever reason, is always kind of getting into it with refs. Next up, Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton. We know Cam is known to talk his trash. We all saw that famous clip where he called the play. Clay Matthews thought he knew the play, and Cam was like, oh, you like that? Watch this. And they ran an angle instead of a wheel route, and it ended up being a touchdown.
Drop straight back, there's a crossing route, McCaffrey, touchdown.
So we got the Chicago Bears. So the Cowboys played the Bears this year, and trash talking has evolved from just being an on-field sport or festivity to being digital. It's in the digital space now too. So after the Bears beat the Cowboys, Kyle Long took to Twitter to trash talk the Cowboys and the Cowboys fan. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. So AJ Green, again, kind of similar to Julio, he's their franchise guy. He's been a top receiver in the league for a minute. Jalen Ramsey, he's been a top DB in the league for a minute. And I know you guys remember that game where they were going back and forth and a fight actually broke out. I don't know what was said. I don't know who crossed the line. I just know AJ Green was a part of it and it led to the fisticuffs. Moving on to the Cleveland Browns, we have Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a known trash talker. He's honestly known to trash talk his teammates. Some say he's trash talking, some say he's holding them accountable. When they fired their head coach, Baker Mayfield even trash talked him. He wouldn't even shake Hugh Jackson's hand or show him any respect when they matched up later on in the season. Baker Mayfield is a huge trash talker, and I think that's one of the things that makes him so great and so marketable, but it's also one of the things that makes people really not want to root for him. He's kind of a little bit too cocky, too boisterous, and he hasn't really done anything yet. On to Dallas, we have the Cowboys. For the Cowboys, I'm gonna go with DeMarcus Lawrence. This guy is really active on Twitter. I told you guys this trash talk thing has gone digital. It's going to IG, it's going to Twitter. Now, DeMarcus Lawrence trash talked Lane Johnson on Twitter before the Eagles game, the first matchup of the year, and he ended up backing up his trash talk. Moving on to the Broncos, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who trash talks on the Broncos, but Von Miller's pretty good, and I believe he's earned the right to trash talk. Moving on to Detroit, we have the Detroit Lions, and we have Darius Slay. So before a potential matchup between the Lions and Vikings, Diggs was on Twitter talking some trash, and Slay saw it. So he kind of responded to him and let him know, hey, it's not going to be as easy as you think. I believe his exact words were, so it's going to be an easy W, huh? Moving on to the Green Bay Packers, we have Devonta Adams. He's gotten into a ton of fights to start his career. He's gotten in fights with Gilmore. He's gotten in fights with Xavier Rhodes. One thing I'm noticing on this list is these top tier receivers, these #1 guys for their organizations. I don't know why, wide receivers and DBs, they're always getting in fights. Taking a trip to Texas, we have the Houston Texans, J.J. Watt. Oddly enough, J.J. Watt once had a Twitter beef with Andy Dalton. J.J. Watt's one of the most likable guys in the NFL, so I'm not going to give him this award. Roll the tape of DeAndre Hopkins in training camp. In training camp, I believe versus the Redskins, DeAndre Hopkins got into a trash-talking war, and it ended up almost snapping the guy's ankle. This is it's crazy footage. You wouldn't believe it until you saw it, so I'm gonna play that footage in this video for you guys. DeAndre Hopkins' training camp trash talk is like top 5 trash talk moments I've ever seen.
Oh, somebody hurt. Oh, I'm already breaking ankles.
Moving on to the Colts, we got T.Y. Hilton. He's a trash talker. He's done some trash talk before a Texans game for sure. They're kind of a rivalry, so it happens. Next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars, Leonard Fournette. He is a huge digital trash talker. He stays on social media. He called Ezekiel Elliott fat. He's always trash talking, and he's always trying to back up his trash talk too. And he's always getting in fights too. He was on the field getting in a fist fight before. Next up, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, Frank Clark. So when the Chiefs and the Chargers matched up, Frank Clark was honestly just mocking Phillip Rivers the entire game they played. Now, funny enough, moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers, Phillip Rivers is a huge trash talker. It's a famous Twitter clip of him like throwing a touchdown and then yelling in the guy's face. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of funny too, but he's a big time trash talker.
90-yard touchdown! Hey, 17, you see I ain't talking.
Staying in Cali, we're going to the Rams. We got Jalen Ramsey. So Jalen Ramsey, hey, what can we say? This guy would trash talk players, teammates, organizations, owners, coaches, boardroom members. He trash talks everybody, but he backs it up. So what can you say? Again, he was in the fight with AJ Green, but he backs up his trash talk. He's probably the best DB in the league, so it's really only so much you can say back. Going down to Florida, we got the Miami Dolphins and Bobby McCabe in an interview. This dude said he loves to trash talk and he looks forward to it. Next up, we have a playoff contender, the Minnesota Vikings, Stefon Diggs. He's not one of the best trash talkers in the league, but I think he might go overboard. Like, he will trash talk his own team. Like, when the Vikings played the Saints in the playoffs this year, he was throwing a tantrum on the sideline, I think, because he didn't get enough looks or the plays weren't working. I don't know. The guy might be kind of crazy. Moving on to the New England Patriots, I want to say Tom Brady. I want to say Bill Belichick, but I'm going to go Julian Edelman. I think he might have like a Napoleon complex. If you ever listen, hear, watch a Julian Edelman mic'd up, he's always talking, always smack talking, always running his mouth. It's kind of nuts. Moving on to the Saints, we got Eli Apple. So there was this popular clip this year where the Bears were playing the Saints, and the Saints ended up winning that game, and they were up when this happened, but Eli Apple kind of mocked Tariq Cohen about their tackling him, and they kind of made fun of him for his height because he was a little guy. He's only 5'6", one of the shortest guys in the league. Kind of made fun of him for his height. Going upstate to New York, we have the Giants. We got Saquon Barkley. Barkley actually came out. Barkley actually said he prefers trash talking and started talking more trash in his second year. He actually kind of feeds off of it now, so he's probably going to be a big trash talker for years to come. Staying in New York, we got the Jets, Le'Veon Bell. This is another one of those digital trash talkers, always on Twitter, always tweeting. Kind of trash talked the Steelers when he left them too. Big time trash talker. Going to Oakland. I want to say AB, but he's no longer there. But I'm going to go with Jonathan Abram. He's one of the league's biggest trash talkers, biggest hitters. He just plays the game violently, recklessly, and in a good way, not a bad way, very passionately. No surprises there. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, I want to say the fans, because the Eagles fans talk a lot of trash. But after the Eagles clinched a playoff berth in Week 16, there was a video clip of Brandon Graham trash talking a bystander, a Cowboys fan walked by and he was laughing at him. He was like, yo, you bad, you got the playoffs, so I gotta give him this award. Next up, we got the Steelers. I wanted to say Bud Dupree, maybe even Juju Smith-Schuster, but I'm gonna go with Pouncey. The Pouncey Bros are known trash talkers. Some would even say they're known dirty players. I was listening to an NFL podcast once, and I'm pretty sure he said one of the Pouncey Bros is kind of known for grabbing your balls if it's like a scrum or like a power, or like a fight for the fumble type of thing. And then we saw the whole debacle with freaking him and Myles Garrett and punches being thrown. So I'm easily going Pouncey with Steelers. Then again, we could go Mason Rudolph because his trash talking kind of set that whole thing off. You can make a decision down below in the comments. Going out west to San Francisco for the 49ers, this is easy. We got Richard Sherman. He's been a huge trash talker ever since he came in the league. We all know he had that famous viral clip versus Michael Crabtree where he grabbed the mic from I think Aaron Andrews and called him a sorry receiver. It was honestly one of the NFL's first viral moments in this social media era.
When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're gonna get. Don't you ever talk about me.
Going to Sherman's former team, the Seattle Seahawks, the Legion of Boom isn't really there anymore, but one of the pieces is Bobby Wagner. He's one of the best linebackers in the league today, so he can talk some trash and he can back it up. Going down to Tampa, we have Ndamukong Suh. Now, some people say he's one of the dirtier players in the league, but Larry Fitzgerald vouched for him before. He said, yo, he's a good guy. He's not as bad as people think he is, but he is known to talk some trash, get in people's heads, and maybe deliver a late hit here and there. Next up, we got Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans. Taylor Lewan. He actually got in a fight with Josh Norman last year, and that's not something you really hear often. You rarely see O-linemen getting in fights with defensive backs, but Taylor Lewan, being one of the more vocal members and leaders of the Tennessee Titans, they somehow ended up getting into a fight. And of course, for the Washington Redskins, we have Josh Norman. He's made a career of talking trash, trying to get in players' heads. Him and Des Bryant used to have some really passionate, great games, great matchups against each other. I think those matchups were so good because they're both just slow, physical players. Not slow in real life sense, but slow in NFL sense. Dez isn't a speedster, Norman isn't a speedster, so it would honestly just be almost a boxing match for 4 quarters. But there you have it. Those are the best trash talkers for every team in the NFL. If I missed the team, if I missed the player, if you think I got anything wrong, comment it down below in the comments. And as always, feel free to stick around, man. Subscribe, turn on notifications, join Noti Gang. I post football, NFL content almost daily. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.